From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your MTN Statewide News this Thursday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, today much of Montana works to squelch fires after yesterday's high winds pushed flames and forced evacuations. We begin in eastern Montana in Muscle County, where evacuation orders remain in place today. Crews are working to protect structures this noon as another wildfire grew in size overnight. An evacuation was put in place for residents on Bobcat Lane and several other area roads yesterday. At last check, officials said flames had jumped Fatted Creek Road and were heading south toward the Signal Peak mine. The fire has burned through some 3,800 acres and multiple resources are being sent to the area to help with containment. A Red Cross shelter is still set up at the community center in Roundup, where the Knights of Columbus and crew are preparing meals. Now, firefighters are also working to put out a fire off High Five Road in Melstone. And in Bighorn County, homes and ranches are threatened today as firefighters work to put out a wildfire on the Crow Reservation. It's now burned more than 10,000 acres. The Northern Cheyenne Tribe has an evacuation order from the reservation line east to Iron Bridge. The Sarpy fire reached Highway 212 2 miles east of Busby. Officials say it started around 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon south of the Westmoreland Absalica coal mine. Yesterday, the fire burned 15 miles in just 7 hours. And in Rosebud County, Ashland residents were allowed back into their homes this morning. However, they must remain prepared to evacuate again if the weather changes. Authorities say last night a fire moved through the area of Beaver Creek and Tongue River Road north. Residents in Jordan, Montana are still on edge today after a wildfire temporarily forced the evacuation of the entire town. Now, the fire is raging northeast of Jordan today and started around noon yesterday. The Garfield County Sheriff's Office was monitoring a landowner's burning project, but that project quickly got out of control. Now, several outbuildings, garages, and vehicles have been burned, but no homes have yet been lost. Many different crews responded and are fighting the flames from the air as well as from the ground. Heavy smoke caused visibility problems in the area and is also blamed for a head-on collision on Highway 59. However, highways 200 and 59 remain open. Anyone traveling on these roads needs to drive slower for emergency vehicles and livestock potentially roaming the area.
That fire headed east of town, so that would have been northeast of Jordan, and then it made kind of a half moon circle shape around the town of Jordan, skirting the town, and then is now south. With these heavy winds, it's resulted in incredibly fast travel of this fire, and so that has been a huge safety factor for us. It is burning in grass and sage fuels, so pasture ground versus timber. We do not have timber in the area that the fire is burning.
And moving west, a fire started just before 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon near Birdseye in Helena. Now, strong winds pushed it east. Incident commanders estimate the fire burned about 800 acres. Earlier in the day, residents in that area between Head Lane, Franklin Mine Road and Green Meadow Drive were evacuated. Last night at 8:30, people living in that area were allowed to return to their homes. Well, it is now time to check in on the weather scene with Ed McIntosh. Ed, how is it looking out there today?
It's looking a little less hard to see, really, because of the area of smoke that we have. But we've been talking about, up to this point through the fire season, California wildfire smoke, and now we're starting to generate some of our own. You can see into western Montana around the Missoula area, Hamilton, where smoke coming in from Washington is continuing to be a problem and continuing to build through the day. But across the eastern plains of Montana, fires that Jeanelle was just talking about, generating a lot of smoke. Where you see the blue arrows, that's where the cold front last night pushed all of that smoke down into the southern portion of the state and sparked more wildfires. The good news is air quality is generally good, with just a few exceptions in southeast Montana. Forecast details up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Ed. Well, this afternoon, the state reports 2 more deaths and 184 new COVID-19 cases across Montana. Now, both deaths are in Yellowstone County. Cascade County is reporting the highest number of new cases today at 58, followed by Yellowstone County at 33. In total, the Treasure State has moved to more than 2,000 active cases. Total deaths are now at 112. A vaccine could be ready for distribution by November 1st. That's according to the the CDC. This pushes up the original tentative timeline of January. It has some health experts a bit concerned that the vaccine is being rushed to happen before the election. The question now is how the vaccines will be prioritized and administered. The CDC says the initial supply in November will be small, and then more vaccines would be distributed in early 2021. Well, an attempted bank robbery in Bozeman yesterday. The call came in a little before 1 p.m. from the Yellowstone Bank on the North 19th location. After a chase, the suspect is now in custody. Captain Klum says they're still investigating how much money was stolen. Bozeman Police, Montana Highway Patrol, the Gallatin County Sheriff's Department, and Livingston Law Enforcement all took part in the suspect's capture. Well, the showdown over one of the largest subdivisions in the Bitterroot in several years will be scrutinized this week as Stevensville leaders hear what the public has to think about the idea. There are plans by Burnt Fork Enterprise to develop 57 acres into a major residential and commercial development. The property, which lies along Middle Burnt Fork Road and Logan Lane, is adjacent to Creekside Meadows and is covered by 3 different zones. The developers say there would be 125 residential lots and 16 commercial lots when Burnt Fork Estates is finished in 2030. People are already expressing concern over the density and the idea of having the commercial development at the corner off Logan Lane. Now, the Stevensville Planning and Zoning Board will take public comment and consider the proposal during an online public hearing tomorrow night. Instructions on how to comment are on the Town of Stevensville's website. Well, Montana State University continues to break records on research expenditures. For the fiscal year that ended in June, MSU increased 8% and hit $167 million. MSU's Vice President for Research, Economic Development, and Graduate Education, Jason Carter, says the past year has balanced growth in a number of departments, including agriculture, engineering, letters and sciences, TechLink, biomedical, and MSU Extension. Now, several MSU researchers have made discoveries and won awards. A lot more detail on this story is on our website. Well, the financial impact of no Grizz football this fall is significant. $8 million to the school alone, and then a trickle-down effect to the local economy. And since the Grizzlies will not hit the field at Washington Grizzly Stadium this fall, the University of Montana is now looking for help from the community. On Monday, the University of Montana Athletic Department launched the #Together fundraising campaign. The campaign is designed to support the 300-plus student athletes who attend the University of Montana. Each year, those 300-plus scholarships cost over $5 million, and a majority of that is made through ticket sales in the fall. Now, as a department, coaches and staff have already volunteered to donate portions of their salaries back to the department in support of this scholarship commitment. Up next on your new news, how critters are being moved in a different direction without a fair. But first, Ed's in next with your statewide weather forecast.